First contact in the wilderness. Maya Rodriguez had learned long ago that silence spoke volumes in the wilderness. The sudden absence of birdsong in the Colorado mountains made her freeze mid-step, her hand instinctively moving to the rifle slung across her back. 15 years as a Marine Corps sniper had honed her instincts to a razor's edge, and those instincts were now screaming danger. The autumn air carried an odd metallic scent, something that didn't belong among the pine and aspen. Maya scanned the tree line, her trained eyes catching the slightest movement of branches against the wind. The setting sun cast long shadows across the valley, but there, a flash of something that shouldn't be there, a shimmer like heat waves on a summer day. She unslung her rifle, moving with practiced silence toward a cluster of boulders. The strange distortion in the air seemed to pulse, and as Maya watched, it began to take shape. The sight before her defied everything she knew about reality. A figure materialized, tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shift colors like the surface of a soap bubble. The alien, there was no other word for it, stumbled, clutching its side where a liquid that gleamed like mercury seeped between its fingers. It looked up, and Maya found herself staring into eyes that swirled with patterns of gold and violet. The creature's face was almost human in its structure, but with subtle differences that made it undeniably alien, high cheekbones that caught the light like prisms, and markings that seemed to shift and flow across its skin. "Please," it spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that made Maya's spine tingle. "They're coming." Maya's finger rested on her rifle's trigger guard, years of training warring with curiosity and compassion. "Who's coming?" "The purifiers," the alien managed before collapsing to one knee. "My name is Kiravesh. Was, a diplomatic envoy. They want to destroy your world before you can become a threat to them." A distant hum filled the air, growing stronger by the second. Kiravesh's head snapped up, fear evident in those otherworldly eyes. "They've tracked me. You must decide quickly, human. Help me, and I can help save your world. Or leave me, and watch your species fall to those who fear what humanity might become." Maya's mind raced through scenarios, evaluating threats and options like she'd been trained to do. The hum was getting louder, and now she could see 3 points of light descending from the clouds, moving with impossible precision. "Shit," Maya muttered, making her decision. "Can you run?" Kiravesh struggled to stand. "Not fast enough." Maya slung her rifle and moved to support the alien's weight. "Then we do this the hard way. My cabin's not far. Come on." They moved as quickly as possible through the gathering darkness, Maya guiding them through hidden game trails she'd memorized over years of hunting. The alien's skin felt cool to the touch, and Maya could feel tremors running through its tall frame. The pursuing craft were getting closer, their hum now a penetrating throb that made Maya's teeth ache. A beam of intense light swept the forest behind them, and she pulled Kiravesh behind a massive fallen tree just as it passed overhead. "They're using thermal tracking," Kiravesh whispered, voice strained. "The trees won't hide us for long." Maya's mind went to the cold cellar beneath her cabin, lined with the limestone that was abundant in these mountains. "We don't need long. Just need to make it another quarter mile." A blast of energy turned a nearby tree to splinters, showering them with burning wood. Maya pushed Kiravesh ahead, turning to fire 3 rapid shots at the nearest craft. The bullets seemed to splash against an invisible barrier, but the craft veered away, buying them precious seconds. They broke through the tree line to Maya's cabin, a sturdy structure built into the hillside. Maya practically dragged Kiravesh to the concealed cellar entrance, throwing it open. "Get in." The alien didn't argue, descending the rough-hewn steps as Maya provided covering fire. Another energy blast carved a furrow in the ground where they'd been standing moments before. Maya slammed the cellar door shut just as a blinding light bathed the clearing. In the darkness of the cellar, Maya could see Kiravesh's skin glowing faintly, patterns of light flowing across its surface like bioluminescent waves. The alien was examining the limestone walls with interest. "Clever," Kiravesh murmured. The mineral composition will scatter their sensors. That's why I chose this spot, Maya replied, though her reasons had been more about the natural insulation the limestone provided. Those friends of yours going to give up? They're not my friends, Kiravesh said grimly. And no, they won't give up. But they will have to land and search on foot. Their weapons are too powerful to risk damaging what I carry. Maya turned on a battery-powered lantern, finally getting a good look at her unexpected guest. The wound in Kiravesh's side was slowly sealing itself, the mercury-like blood clotting into intricate patterns. And what exactly do you carry that's so important? Kiravesh's swirling eyes met Maya's. The truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. Your species is young, but you possess something unique, something that terrifies the purifiers. A capacity for rapid adaptation and innovation that they've never seen before. They believe destroying Earth now is safer than letting humanity reach its full potential. The sound of landing craft reached them through the cellar's ceiling. Maya checked her ammunition and pulled a backup pistol from a hidden compartment. How many? 3 hunters. Highly trained, but they won't expect serious resistance from humans. They believe your weapons to be primitive. Maya allowed herself a grim smile. Then they're in for a surprise. I've spent my whole career dealing with people who underestimated me. She handed Kiravesh the pistol. Know how to use one of these? The alien examined the weapon with surprising familiarity. We've studied your technology extensively. I can manage. Heavy footsteps moved across the cabin floor above them. Maya positioned herself near the cellar steps, rifle ready. Any weak spots I should know about? Their personal shields can't maintain full coverage during rapid movement. Aim for where you think their head would be when they're running. Maya nodded, her breathing settling into the calm rhythm she'd used on countless missions. When this is over, we're going to have a long talk about this invasion you mentioned. If we survive, Kiravesh agreed, taking position on the other side of the steps. The cellar door began to open, and Maya's finger tightened on the trigger. Whatever came next, she knew her quiet retirement in the mountains was over. A new war was coming, one that would determine the fate of her entire species. And it was starting right here, in a limestone cellar beneath the Colorado sky. The hidden truth. The first hunter died before it fully opened the cellar door. Maya's shot caught it in the narrow gap between its helmet and shoulder armor as it moved, just as Kiravesh had advised. The creature's body tumbled down the stairs, its armor making a series of metallic clangs that echoed through the confined space. The remaining hunters immediately responded with a barrage of energy weapons, forcing Maya and Kiravesh to take cover behind the thick support pillars of the cellar. The air crackled with ozone, and Maya could feel the heat of near misses singing her skin. They're calling for reinforcements, Kiravesh warned, the patterns across their skin pulsing with increased intensity. We have minutes at most. Maya ejected her spent magazine and slammed in a fresh one. Then we don't wait for them to come to us. She pulled a small cylinder from her vest. Cover your eyes. The flashbang grenade bounced up the cellar stairs, detonating in a burst of light and sound. Maya was moving before the echo died, taking the steps 2 at a time. She caught the second hunter still reeling from the blast, its shield flickering erratically. 3-round center mass dropped it. The third hunter proved more difficult. It had recovered faster than its companion and launched itself at Maya with inhuman speed. They crashed through the cabin's front door onto the snow-covered ground outside. Maya's rifle went spinning into the darkness. Up close, the hunter was a nightmare of sleek armor and predatory grace. Its helmet retracted, revealing a face similar to Kiravesh's but twisted with an expression of pure contempt. Primitive, it snarled, pressing down with strength that made Maya's bones creak. A gunshot rang out, and the hunter's head snapped back. It rolled off Maya, shield flaring as it turned to face Kiravesh, who stood in the doorway with the pistol raised. Traitor, the hunter spat. The council will dash. The council is corrupt, Kiravesh cut it off. They fear what they cannot control. Another shot, this time finding the gap in the hunter's shield. It collapsed, its armor going dark. Maya got to her feet, retrieving her rifle from where it had fallen. Those reinforcements coming? Kiravesh nodded grimly. We need to move. There's something I must show you first. They went to the hunter Maya had killed in the cellar and removed a device from its armor. With a few quick movements, a holographic display sprang to life between them. Maya's breath caught. The display showed Earth, but overlaid with hundreds of pulsing points of light. What am I looking at? Sleeper agents, Kiravesh explained, their voice heavy. The purifiers have been preparing for this longer than you know. These points represent their operatives, already embedded in your society. Some in positions of significant influence. Maya studied the display, her military training kicking in as she analyzed the pattern of infiltration. The lights clustered around major military installations, government centers, and key infrastructure. They're positioned for a decapitation strike. Yes. The invasion fleet is merely the final phase. When it arrives, the sleeper agents will activate, disrupting your world's ability to mount an organized defense. Kiravesh's skin rippled with patterns that Maya was beginning to recognize as anxiety. But there's more. Show her, they commanded the device. The display shifted, zooming in on a particular location. Maya recognized the coordinates, a military research facility in Nevada she'd once been stationed at. The image showed what appeared to be a massive underground structure, far larger than any official records indicated. What exactly am I looking at? The reason I defected, Kiravesh said softly. Your people aren't the first civilization the purifiers have destroyed. But you're the first that showed signs of having, the potential. Potential for what? A new sound cut through the night, the distinctive whomp-whomp of helicopter rotors. Maya tensed, but Kiravesh held up a hand. Not the reinforcements I warned of. These are your people. Maya's satellite phone buzzed in her pocket. The number displayed was one she hadn't seen in years, one that shouldn't even exist anymore. She answered. Master Sergeant Rodriguez, a familiar voice said. Looks like retirement didn't quite stick. Colonel Walsh, Maya replied, surprised to hear from her former commanding officer. Kind of busy at the moment. So I see. 3 unidentified aircraft landed in your area about 10 minutes ago. Want to tell me what you've gotten yourself into? Maya looked at Kiravesh, who nodded encouragingly. Sir, remember that classified project you pulled me into back in 19? The one we never talked about again? A pause on the other end. The Nevada incident. Yes, sir. Turns out that was just the beginning. I've got someone here you need to meet, and information that's going to change everything we thought we knew about that operation. The helicopters were visible now, their running lights cutting through the darkness. Military helicopters, but unmarked. Stay put, Walsh ordered. We're landing now. And Rodriguez? Good to have you back in the game. Maya ended the call, turning to Kiravesh. You knew they were coming. I suspected they might be watching you. Your involvement in the Nevada incident marked you as someone who might be receptive to the truth. Kiravesh's expression became urgent. But we must be careful. The sleeper agents have infiltrated your military as well. We can trust no one completely. The helicopters touched down in the clearing, kicking up swirls of snow. Armed figures emerged, moving with the precise coordination Maya recognized from special operations units. She kept her rifle ready but pointed down. How do we know which ones are compromised? Kiravesh handed her a small crystal, similar to the one they'd taken from the hunter. With this, it will help you identify them. But Maya. They gripped her arm with surprising strength. The potential I mentioned? It's not just technological advancement that terrifies the purifiers. It's something in your very nature, something that exists in every human's genetic code. A capability that my people lost eons ago in our pursuit of perfection. What capability? The ability to evolve rapidly, to adapt to new challenges in ways that defy scientific prediction. And more importantly, Kiravesh's eyes swirled with complex emotions. The capacity to choose a different path than the one laid out for you. Free will, you might call it. True free will, not the illusion of it that my people live with. The special operations team was approaching cautiously, weapons at the ready. Maya could see Colonel Walsh among them, his face exactly as she remembered it from 5 years ago. Ready to change the world, Master Sergeant, he called out. Maya checked her ammunition and squared her shoulders. Ready to save it, sir. The night sky above them lit up with new arrivals, more hunter ships entering the atmosphere. The war for Earth's future was about to begin, and humanity didn't even know it yet. But they would. And if Maya had anything to say about it, they'd be ready when the real invasion came. She just hoped they had enough time to prepare. Underground resistance. The underground bunker beneath Cheyenne Mountain hummed with activity. Maya studied the holographic display showing suspected sleeper agent locations across North America, each point of light representing a potential threat. In the week since their escape from her cabin, the situation had evolved from a covert threat to a silent war. Another one confirmed in Pentagon Logistics, Colonel Walsh announced, entering the command center. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes from endless hours of vetting personnel. That makes 3 this week. Maya nodded grimly. Using Kiravesh's detection crystal, they'd begun the painstaking process of identifying infiltrators. The device wasn't perfect, it could only work at close range, but it had already revealed dozens of agents in critical positions. The problem, Kiravesh said from their station at a modified computer terminal, is that removing them too quickly will alert the others. We must maintain the illusion that their network remains undetected. Maya watched as another light appeared on the display, this one in Seattle. They're concentrated around our tech centers. Microsoft, Apple, SpaceX. Of course, Kiravesh's skin rippled with patterns of dark blue, concern, Maya had learned to interpret. Your technological development is accelerating faster than any species they've encountered. They aim to cripple that progress before the invasion. A young lieutenant burst into the room, face flushed with excitement. Sir. The Nevada team just reported in. You're going to want to see this. Walsh gestured to the main screen, and footage began playing from what appeared to be a body camera. It showed a vast underground chamber, filled with alien technology in various stages of reverse engineering. But what caught Maya's attention was the massive device in the center, a ring of silvery metal that seemed to drink in the light. Is that what I think it is? She asked Kiravesh. The alien skin pulsed with patterns Maya had never seen before. A gateway. They've been building a gateway. Their voice carried a mix of awe and horror. This changes everything. Gateway to where? Walsh demanded. Not where, when, Kiravesh explained. The purifiers don't just conquer through space, but time itself. They use these devices to ensure their victories by altering critical moments in a species' development. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. You're saying they can change our past? They can try. But this is also our opportunity. The gateway requires immense power to operate. When they activate it, we can track the energy signature, Walsh finished. Find every facility they've built. A new alarm blared through the complex. Red lights began flashing as technicians scrambled to their stations. Multiple bogies entering atmosphere, someone shouted. At least 20 ships, coming in fast. Maya moved to the tactical display, watching as the alien vessels took up positions over major cities. This isn't the invasion fleet, Kiravesh said, their voice tight. These are their elite units, the Shadowbreak Legion. They know we're on to them. All units, battle stations, Walsh barked into the command system. This is not a drill. Initiate Protocol Omega. Throughout the mountain, hidden weapons platforms emerged from camouflaged positions. They were hybrid systems, human technology enhanced with adaptations gleaned from studying captured alien tech. Maya had helped design some of them herself, incorporating everything they'd learned about the aliens' defensive capabilities. "They're broadcasting," a communications officer announced. The main screen flickered, showing a face similar to Kiravesh's but marked with intricate scarification that seemed to glow from within. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that made the speakers crackle. "Your world harbors a fugitive who has stolen vital military secrets. Surrender them, and we will depart peacefully. Resist, and we will be forced to take more direct action." Walsh looked at Kiravesh. "Can they detect this facility?" "The mountain's natural composition interferes with their sensors, just like the limestone in Maya's cellar. But they'll find us eventually. And they're lying, they have no intention of leaving Earth in peace." Maya checked her tactical display again. The alien ships had taken up perfect geometric positions. Too perfect. "They're setting up a containment grid," she realized. "Standard military doctrine, establish a perimeter before beginning operations." "Correct." Kiravesh moved to a secondary console, their fingers flying over the adapted interface. "But they don't know about everything we've built. Maya, remember the Nevada incident? What you saw there?" Maya's mind flashed back to that classified operation 5 years ago. The strange craft they'd recovered, the technology that had seemed to respond to human touch in ways it never did for the research teams. The neural interface components. Exactly. My people lost something fundamental in our drive for perfection, the ability to truly innovate, to make intuitive leaps. But humans, your minds can form connections we never imagined. That's why the recovered technology responded to you. And that's why this might work. Kiravesh pressed their hand to a panel, and a hidden door irised open in the command center's wall. Inside was a chamber containing what looked like a pilot's chair, but covered in flowing lines of light that pulsed in time with the alien's skin patterns. "What exactly are you proposing?" Walsh asked, though Maya could see in his eyes that he already knew. "The Shadowbreak Legion's ships are linked in a tactical network. If we can insert a human consciousness into that network." Kiravesh let the implications hang in the air. "You want to hack their fleet," Maya said. "Using a human mind as the intrusion vector." "Yes. But it has to be someone who's already demonstrated compatibility with our technology. Someone whose mind can adapt quickly to alien thought patterns." Kiravesh's swirling eyes fixed on Maya. "Someone like you." Maya stared at the chair, remembering the strange sensation from Nevada, the feeling of her consciousness expanding, touching systems that operated on principles she couldn't understand but could somehow feel. The risk? Significant. A human mind was never meant to interface with our technology at this level. But the alternative is watching them systematically dismantle your world's defenses until the invasion fleet arrives. More alarms blared. "They're powering weapons," a tactical officer shouted. Energy signatures spiking across the board. Maya made her decision, stepping toward the chair. "How long do you need?" "Minutes to establish the connection. After that, it will be up to you." Walsh caught her arm as she passed. "Rodriguez." "Maya. You don't have to do this." She gave him a tight smile. "With respect, sir, yes I do." She looked at Kiravesh. "Besides, your people might think they've got everything figured out, but they've never dealt with a marine sniper who's really pissed off." The chair adjusted as she sat, conforming to her body. Interfaces extended, touching her temples, her spine, the base of her skull. She could feel the alien technology beginning to sync with her nervous system. "Ready?" Kiravesh asked, their hands hovering over the control panel. Maya took a deep breath, remembering everything that had led to this moment, from that first encounter in Nevada to the night Kiravesh had appeared at her cabin. The fate of her world might depend on what happened in the next few minutes. Ready. Let's show them why they're right to fear human potential. The interface is activated, and Maya's world dissolved into light. Countdown to invasion. Maya's consciousness exploded into an ocean of light. The alien network surrounded her, a vast web of interconnected minds and machines that defied human comprehension. But where others might have been overwhelmed, her sniper's focus helped her maintain her sense of self within the digital maelstrom. Remember, Kiravesh's voice echoed in her mind, you're not just accessing their network, you're experiencing their collective consciousness. Don't fight it. Flow with it. She let her awareness expand, touching the edges of the Shadowbreak Legion's tactical network. Their thoughts were alien yet ordered, moving with crystalline precision that seemed both beautiful and terribly cold. Maya could feel their contempt for humanity, their absolute certainty in their own superiority. But she also sensed something else, fear. Deep beneath their disciplined thoughts, an ancient terror lurked. Fear of change, of chaos, of everything humanity represented. Found something interesting? Kiravesh's voice came through the neural link. They're scared of us, Maya replied, her thoughts transmitting directly through the interface. Not just what we might become, but what we already are. Our unpredictability terrifies them. She pushed deeper into the network, past the surface thoughts of the Legion soldiers and into their command and control systems. The alien code flowed around her like liquid mercury, but she could sense patterns in it, rhythms that reminded her of combat formations, of tactical deployments she'd learned as a Marine. Suddenly, she felt resistance. The network's security protocols had detected her presence. Abstract shapes that somehow conveyed menace began to coalesce around her digital form. They've spotted you, Kiravesh warned. The system's automated defenses are dash. I see them, Maya interrupted. In the physical world, her body tensed in the neural interface chair as sweat beaded on her forehead. But they're making a mistake. They designed these defenses to stop logical attacks. I don't think they've ever dealt with human intuition before. She let her consciousness flow with the network's currents, moving the way she would through hostile territory, not fighting the terrain, but using it. The defense protocols tried to trap her in geometric patterns of code, but Maya's mind moved with the improvised grace of a combat veteran, finding gaps that shouldn't exist. Impossible, a new voice echoed through the network, one of the Legion commanders, Maya realized. No primitive mind should be able to dash. Maya slipped through their defenses and into the heart of their command protocols. Information flooded her consciousness, deployment plans, ship locations, and most critically, the invasion timeline. Oh God, she broadcast back to the bunker. The main fleet, it's already on the way. They're not coming in weeks or months. They'll be here in 3 days. She could feel the shock ripple through the command center even through the interface. But there was something else, something hidden deeper in the Legion's secure data. Maya pushed further, following a thread of information that seemed to pulse with particular significance. The Legion commander's presence surged toward her, bringing with it waves of cold fury. You will not access those files, human. Watch me, Maya growled, drawing on every lesson she'd learned in combat. She didn't try to fight the commander directly. Instead, she let their attack pass through where she appeared to be, while her actual consciousness slipped past their defenses. The hidden files burst open in her mind. Images, technical data, and tactical analyses poured through the neural link. The gateway they discovered in Nevada wasn't unique. The purifiers had built 3 others at strategic points around the globe. But they weren't just for traveling through time. Colonel Walsh. Maya broadcast urgently. The gateways, they're not just for time travel. When activated together, they'll create a containment field around the planet. They're going to trap us inside our own atmosphere while the invasion fleet bombards us from orbit. How do we stop them? Walsh's voice came through the link. The gateways need to charge for 72 hours before activation. They're starting the sequence now. If we can destroy even one of them dash. A massive surge of energy ripped through the network. Maya felt her digital form beginning to fragment as the Legion implemented emergency protocols. Maya, get out. Kiravesh shouted through the link. They're initiating a total network purge. But Maya had one last card to play. As the network collapsed around her, she released a virus, not a conventional piece of code, but a fragment of pure human consciousness, unpredictable and adaptive. She'd crafted it from her own memories of combat, of survival, of the chaos that made humanity so fearsome to the purifiers. Let's see how your perfect systems handle a little human disorder, she thought as she withdrew. Maya's consciousness slammed back into her physical body. She jerked upright in the interface chair, gasping, as blood trickled from her nose. Medics rushed forward, but she waved them off. Did you get it all? Walsh asked, helping her to her feet. Everything, Maya confirmed, her voice hoarse. Including the locations of all 3 gateways. Nevada, Siberia, and the South China Sea. She stumbled to the tactical display, where the Legion ships were showing signs of confusion, their perfect formation beginning to break down. My virus is disrupting their network, but it won't last long. We have maybe 12 hours before they purge it completely. Kiravesh's skin rippled with patterns of deep crimson, determination, Maya had learned. Then we have 12 hours to organize a global response. To convince your world's governments that the threat is real. Look, Maya pointed to the display, where news alerts were already beginning to pop up worldwide. The Legion ships were now visible to conventional radar, their stealth systems compromised by the virus. I don't think convincing them will be the problem. Walsh was already on the phone, speaking rapidly to someone Maya assumed was high up the chain of command. She turned to Kiravesh. That hidden protocol I found in their network, the one about human genetic potential. You knew about it, didn't you? That's really why you defected. Kiravesh's eyes swirled with complex emotions. Yes. The purifiers discovered something in your genetic code. A sequence that suggests humanity is on the verge of an evolutionary leap. One that could surpass even my people's capabilities. And that's why they're rushing the invasion. They're not just afraid of what we might become, they're afraid we're already becoming it. Correct. What you just did in their network. It should have been impossible. And yet. Kiravesh gestured to the tactical display, where the Legion ships continued to show signs of confusion and disarray. New alarms began to sound. The holographic display shifted, showing multiple objects approaching from deep space, the advance elements of the invasion fleet, arriving ahead of schedule. Maya checked her rifle and looked at the assembled personnel in the command center, humans and their one alien ally, about to face the fight of their lives. Well, she said, managing a grim smile, they wanted to see humanity's potential. I say we show them exactly what we can do when our backs are against the wall. The countdown to invasion had begun. The final stand. 3 targets, 3 strike teams, 12 hours to save humanity. Maya checked her tactical display one final time as their stealth helicopter approached the Nevada facility. Similar teams were en route to Siberia and the South China Sea, each armed with hybrid weapons developed from Kiravesh's technology. Strike Team Alpha, 5 minutes to target, the pilot announced. Maya looked at her team, a mix of special forces operators and scientists, with Kiravesh at her side. The alien skin pulsed with patterns that somehow conveyed both anxiety and determination. The gateway's power signature is increasing, one of the scientists reported, checking a modified sensor. They're already at 20% charge. Remember, Kiravesh addressed the team, once the gateway reaches full power, there's no stopping the containment field. All 3 must be destroyed before that happens. Maya's neural implant, still active from her connection to the Legion's network, tingled at the base of her skull. "Something's wrong," she muttered. "It's too quiet. The Legion should be throwing everything they have at stopping us." As if in answer to her concern, the helicopter's threat warning system screamed to life. "Multiple bogies incoming," the pilot shouted. "They're coming up from underground." The night sky erupted with weapon fire as camouflage defense turrets emerged from the desert floor. Maya grabbed the door gun, returning fire as the pilot took evasive action. "They knew we were coming." "Of course we did," a voice echoed through their communication system, the Legion commander Maya had encountered in the network. "Did you think your primitive viral attack could truly surprise us?" The helicopter banked hard, barely avoiding a barrage of energy bolts. Maya's neural implant suddenly flared with activity, and she gasped as information flooded her consciousness. "It's a trap," she realized. "They wanted us to split our forces." "Correct, human," the commander's voice held a note of smug satisfaction. "While you focus on the gateways, our main fleet will dash." Maya cut the transmission, turning to Kiravesh. "The virus, it's still in their network, isn't it? Even if they contained it?" Kiravesh's eyes swirled with sudden understanding. "Yes, but it's isolated. They think it's harmless now. But it's still there. And I'm still connected." Maya sat back in her seat, closing her eyes. "Get us to the gateway. I have an idea." The helicopter descended rapidly, using terrain features for cover as it approached the facility. Maya's consciousness reached out through her neural implant, touching the edges of the Legion's network. The virus she'd planted was still there, transformed but not destroyed, evolving in ways the purifiers hadn't predicted. Just like humanity itself. They landed hard amid a storm of weapons fire. Maya's team deployed in practiced formation, laying down covering fire as they advanced toward the facility entrance. The Legion's forces responded with mechanical precision, but that precision was their weakness. "Kiravesh," Maya called out as they moved, "you said human consciousness is different, more adaptable, more chaotic. What happens if we introduce that chaos directly into their systems? Not just their network, but the gateways themselves." The alien's skin flickered with rapid patterns. "The gateways are designed to create order from chaos, to impose their will on spacetime itself. If we could introduce enough entropy, we could overload them." Maya reached the facility door, placing breaching charges. "Contact the other teams. Tell them to fall back to minimum safe distance. This is going to get messy." The charges detonated, and they pushed inside. The gateway chamber was massive, the device itself humming with building power as it prepared to create the containment field. Legion soldiers moved to intercept them, but Maya's team had trained for this, using unconventional tactics that the aliens' perfect precision couldn't counter. Maya fought her way to the gateway's control center, her neural implant connecting with its systems. Through it, she could feel the other two gateways, their power building in perfect synchronization. "Maya," Kiravesh warned, "what you're planning, introducing human consciousness directly into the gateway network, it could kill you. Better me than everyone on Earth." She turned to her old friend. "But I need you to do something for me. The virus in their network, help me modify it. Make it carry something else, the truth about humanity. About what we really are, what we could become. Let them see us as we really are, not as they fear we might be." Kiravesh's hands moved across the alien console, patterns flowing across their skin like liquid starlight. "It's done. But Maya, no human has ever attempted something like this. The gateway energy could burn out your mind." Maya smiled grimly. "Then let's give them a demonstration of human stubbornness." She placed her hands on the interface panels, and her consciousness exploded into the gateway network. The power was overwhelming, far beyond what she'd experienced in the Legion's tactical systems. But where they sought to impose order, she brought chaos, the beautiful, terrible chaos of human consciousness, of free will and determination and the refusal to submit to anyone's plan for humanity's destiny. Through her neural link, she could feel the virus spreading through the Legion's entire network, carrying with it not just disruption but understanding. Images of human history, of triumph and failure, of art and music and love and loss, of the endless capacity to grow and change and become more than they were. The gateways began to overload, their perfectly ordered energy patterns disrupted by the introduction of human consciousness. Warning sirens blared throughout the facility. All teams, clear the area. Walsh's voice came through their comms. Power signatures are going critical. Maya felt hands pulling at her, trying to break her connection to the gateway. "Leave me," she gasped. "Have to, finish it." "No," Kiravesh's voice cut through her pain. "Remember what I said about human potential? Show them. Show them humans don't have to sacrifice everything to win." With a supreme effort of will, Maya pulled her consciousness back, stumbling away from the console as Kiravesh and her team dragged her toward the exit. Behind them, the gateway's energy began to cascade out of control. They barely made it to the helicopter before the facility exploded, the gateway's power turning in on itself. Similar explosions lit up the night in Siberia and the South China Sea as all three devices overloaded simultaneously. Through her neural link, Maya felt the shock ripple through the Legion's collective consciousness. But it wasn't just shock, it was understanding. The virus had shown them the truth about humanity, about the beauty and terror of free will, about the power of choosing one's own path. "The invasion fleet," she whispered as the helicopter lifted away from the destruction. "What are they?" "Retreating," Kiravesh answered, their skin pulsing with patterns of joy and wonder. "They're retreating. Your virus didn't just show them humanity's potential for destruction, it showed them your potential for growth, for change, for becoming something entirely new. Something they never imagined possible." Maya looked out the helicopter's window at the desert below, where the gateway facility was now just a smoking crater. Above, the stars twinkled peacefully, unchanged by the battle that had just taken place. "So what happens now?" she asked. Kiravesh's eyes swirled with complex emotions. Now humanity knows it's not alone in the universe. Knows what it might become. The real question is, what will you choose to do with that knowledge? Maya thought about everything that had happened since that night in her cabin, about choices and consequences, about fear and understanding, about the endless capacity for change that made her species so terrifying and so wonderful. "We'll choose our own path," she said finally. "That's what scares them the most, isn't it? Not knowing what will become." "Yes," Kiravesh agreed. "And that's what makes your species so remarkable." The helicopter turned toward home as the first light of dawn began to paint the eastern sky. Humanity had faced its trial by fire and emerged not just surviving, but understanding itself, and its potential, better than ever before. The future was uncertain, but then, that was the whole point. The power to choose, to change, to become something new, that was humanity's greatest strength. And now the entire galaxy would have to come to terms with that fact. Maya smiled as she watched the sunrise. It was going to be an interesting future indeed.